And I think, more so in sort of continental European companies, I think the flip is probably more of a foregone conclusion. But, here in the UK, even at the earlier stages, it's not necessarily always going to be the case. And we see it quite often in our discussions with companies where we know the investors and have, can get involved in the early stages at the term sheet negotiation to sort of put pressure on whether or not they really do need to flip or what it is exactly they're looking for. When you take that sort of coupled together, I think with the convergence of sort of the British venture capital system and the movement of terms kind of coming more closer together and just investors, getting more familiarity with how the system works over here, we may find over time a little bit more leniency. And certainly I feel like I've seen it over the past year or so with US VCs coming into UK limiteds at an earlier stage as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things in there that transcend into tax as well. So from a tax perspective, we're seeing more and more startups or businesses come to us, and rather than talk about Delaware Flip, they want us to perform and provide guidance on whether they're a PFIC, whether they're a CFC, because that gives the US VC comfort. And we're also seeing lots of examples of UK clients that want to go into the US, not really for the market, but because the CEO wants to relocate back to the US or somebody senior wants to go there. And in almost all cases, they tell us there's absolutely no market out there. It'll just be a single person out in the US working there. And within weeks, they've won their first US client because they just have a Delaware entity that is frictionless when you're being onboarded by a US client. So having that Delaware C Corp, that entity in there, is just really facilitates the growth and really makes it much easier from a tax perspective.